Hi guys, it's me Samantha here today with another video, and today we are talking about BH Cosmetics and the new Mrs. Claus the Litless palette. I recently ordered this from Ulta because I felt like it was different enough from the one from last year to purchase it. And just as I ordered it, I saw somebody do a video doing two looks with it. I was getting some inspiration, and they mentioned that they felt that it was too similar to the one from last year and that it is a good palette, but if you had the previous one, you didn't need the new one. Well, I had already ordered it. It was already on its way to me, so I decided it would probably be a good idea to sit down and swatch and compare the two palettes side by side. So that is what we're gonna do today. If you're new to my channel, my name is Sam and I do a lot of makeup videos. Makeup is my therapy. If you feel the same way too, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell down below so that you can come back and see more videos with me. Now let's get into it. So this is the Litless palette and it retails for $29. I got it on sale from Ulta because it was like I had a 20% coupon. And this is the palette from last year. This is the Naughty palette from BH Cosmetics. If you've seen any other videos with this palette, you know that, or with the newer one, then you are aware that the one from this year has half the amount of product with the round pans as opposed to the square pans that we got last year. So this is what they look like side by side. Honestly, palettes this size are always going to have colors that look similar, but I do feel like this one is more muted and more grungy, and this one is actually a lot brighter. And so that is why I still felt like this was worth getting. So we're going to swatch the shades that I think are similar and see how similar they are and how many shadows are similar. So let's take a look. Looking at the top row, of course, the two white shadows. So this one here is called Snow Day, and in the new palette, the white shadow is called Frozen. My hair is a little crazy because it's starting to like fully dry. It's still not dry all the way, but and I didn't put any product in it, so it's kind of doing its own thing. Sometimes I don't want to put stuff in it. So that's where we're at. I'll probably wear my grandma bun tomorrow, but yeah. So from the palette from last year, this one is Snow Day. And in the new palette, they do feel like the same formula. This one is Frozen. They look incredibly similar, and on the eye you won't be able to tell the difference, but this one does feel like it looks a little bit more silvery. I don't know if I'm just looking too much into it, but they are incredibly similar. If I wasn't looking for a difference, I would say that they are the same. The next shade right next to the white one in the Naughty palette is called Cheers. It's like a champagne. And this one here in the new palette is called Bubbly. Is kind of similar, but it's more of a softer satin as opposed to this one, which is more shimmery. So they are a little bit different. This too is more of a champagne shade, and this is like a taupe shade because it's closer to my skin tone. Then this shade here, it's called Bling Bling. I'm not really sure that there is a corresponding shade. They're like too big to have both in screen. Maybe this shade Jingle Bells on the top row, but I can tell you right now that is a pressed glitter. And Bling Bling is not. Let's see. The only other shade I could think is Decked Out in the Naughty palette, which is this one here, and this is Decked Out. It's definitely more warm, more copper. So that one does not have a match. Let's just swatch them. Jingle Bells, Bling Bling from the new palette. The Jingle Bells is from the Naughty palette, And then this one is Decked Out from the Naughty palette. From this palette here, there's like a tan, I don't know, nude shade, I guess, called Not So Nice. I'm gonna wipe my hand and use that same finger. There's two lighter shades in the Naughty one. This one is Meringue, way more pale. And then the other one is, that's a little bit closer, is called Secret Santa. It's similar. Okay. Then we have this shade here called Ginger Snap. I actually don't think Ginger Snap has a shade in the Naughty palette. If you look at it, it's a very neutral brown. And I'm just not seeing that brown in here. The closest one is this one right here, which is more of a cocoa brown. We can swatch those two side by side. So this one is Ginger Snap and this one is Hot Cocoa. So you can tell they're definitely different. They're not the same. What about the other brown? This one is from the new palette called Spiked Cocoa. So it's the warmer brown. And then I can see Utide in the Naughty palette being similar. But it's way more red. So those are the two browns from the Naughty palette, Hot Cocoa and Yuletide. And then this is Ginger Snap and Spiked Cocoa. Alright, for the gold shades, we have Ritzy in the new palette. That one I do feel like is more similar to the pressed glitter Jingle Bells from the Naughty palette, or this one Decked Out. But see, again, more copper. This one is far more yellow. The other golds in the Naughty palette might be Spicy, but this is like a true gold. This is kind of orangey. We do have Ring It On in the new palette. It's way more metallic. It's like an amped up version of last year's Spice. There's also Pop Bottles in the new palette. Again, way more metallic. And this is more of like a cool tone gold. And then the last gold in the new palette is called Good as Gold. That shade and Spicy look kind of similar, but again, the ones in the new palette are way more metallic, and that's all the golds. I'm not going to wipe it off because I want to swatch Reindeer, which is a shimmery brown. And that's in the new palette. And then we have Mistletoe from the last one. See, that's like an olive green. Yeah, I can't think of another. There's not really a brown shimmer shade in the one from last year. Let's see for green shimmer. So this one is Tinsel. It's more of like a satin. Very, very light. And we'll swatch Very Merry from the Naughty palette. Those are similar, but last year's definitely have more pigmentation to it. The other greens from this palette is Mistletoe from the new palette, Lit List, and then we have The Grinch. The last green in the Naughty palette is Balsam. So those are all the golds and all the greens. I do feel like they're different. These are more bright pops, where see, this is like more grungy. This one is more grungy. So you're getting like, last year was a little bit more on the cooler side. Even the warm tones were just like, I don't know, that grungy vibe. All right, so the next row in this new palette, I like how they do like all of the like champagne nudie colors here. We got all the golds, yellows there. We got all the greens. Now we're going into the red berries, where last year's palette, not that I don't like the layout of this, but it's a little bit more, you know, they're more, I feel like, organizing quads, if you see what I mean. Like this quad goes good together, this quad, this one. I don't know if you see that. That's what I saw when I first got this palette last year. So now we're going to go into the berry ones. And the first one in the new palette is called Naughty Girl. Beautiful. Then we have a matte shade called Velvet. Oh my god, that one's so beautiful. Then we have a pressed glitter. It feels like the ones from last year. It's a little bit rough. Not my favorite type of pressed glitter. Not that I use pressed glitter very much, but if I was, this would not be one that I would use. Then we have Gumdrop. Very metallic pink. And then this one is Wino. Let's go into the palette from last year. All right, so then we have in the old palette Candy Cane. That one I can see is similar to Wino. Very, very similar. Rudolph does look like it could be similar to which one? Velvet. Those I think are the same. All right, then we have, there's some more like burgundy ones in the older, and the one from last year. So this one is Brick. Then we have Nutcracker, Plum, Santa Baby, and this shade called Rum. Oh, I did forget one. This one is Spiced Cider. So I feel like for the reds, Velvet and Rudolph are similar. Wino and Candy Cane are similar. I don't see any other similarities. And I'm just looking down because I'm trying to see if there's any that I missed. You know, in the Naughty palette, in the next row, there are some pinks. So I'm just going to swatch these along with the ones before. So we have these 5 here are from the new palette. And then from here down was the old one. But we're going to swatch these kind of. This is Fala Fierce. And that one is like a plummy version of this. And then this shade could be similar to Santa Baby. This is called Rosy. So this one and this is Santa Baby. I can see those being similar. So if you're really into like a berry look, this palette is quite similar. And then this is the last pink. It's called Bougie. And that's very icy. We do have, oh, you know what? I missed one in the Naughty palette too. This is Ornament, and these are perfect to swatch side by side. Those are almost exactly the same. Yeah, so Ornament and Bougie. We got Rosie and Santa Baby. Yeah, those are all of them. Now there's lots of golds in this palette, but there's not many yellows or oranges Actually, there's no yellows and there's no oranges. The one from last year had some yellows and they had some oranges. So this one is mulled. Then we have Misbehave. We have Greetings. And Pantone. I don't know if I pronounced that incorrectly. So those are all the orangey yellow colors that there's nothing even close to in this new palette. So now we're gonna get into the two blues and then these bottom row like cool tone shades. So ooh, the shimmer shades down the middle in the new palette are not a formula I've seen in any of the other BHs. This one is Ice Queen, and then we have a matte called Midnight. Gorgeous. Now there's no blues in last year's palette, but we got a couple bright purples. So this one was Candied Fruit, and then we had Ho Ho Ho. I will say the ones from last year, like even swatching, are very crumbly. They go on nice and stuff, but they're definitely more powdery. Like even swatching them, it's kind of making a mess everywhere on this palette. All right, so then we have this cool tone brown here in the bottom corner called Sleigh, and there's not a cool tone brown in last year's palette. Then we have this grungy taupe in this year's palette called Jingle Bells. I don't see anything comparable into last year's, and we pretty much swatched almost all of last year's. Then we have this silver called Diamonds. There is not a silver in last year's palette. We have a black shimmer. It's more like a satin. That is called Santa's Boot. There is not a comparable shade in here. And then the last one is a matte black, which is called Blackout. We don't have a straight black in last year's palette, but we do have a dark charcoal called Coal. And slightly more brown, warmer than the cool tone black from this year. I'm trying to take a look at this. We swatched every single one from last year and we swatched every single one for this year. I don't feel like they're terribly similar. We've had the ones that had similar ones were Wino, Velvet, Bougie, Rosy. We had Frozen was similar to one from last year, and Bubbly I thought was pretty close, and So Nice. If you really want to say, the Grinch could be kind of similar to Balsam, but I honestly don't think that one was more of a cool tone grungy green, and this is definitely more bright green. Yeah, and the not even the blacks were similar. I mean, like on the eyes you can get similar looks, not the same. They're not going to be the same look. So 7 shades out of 30 I don't think is really that similar. So I definitely don't feel like this was a bad purchase. If you didn't get last year's and you want this one, I still think it's a decent value. As far as the number of shades you're getting, the quantity of shadow you're getting in here is half of what you normally get, so you do want to take that into consideration if you care about that type of thing. I never hit pan in any shadows, so it doesn't really matter to me. It's, you know, I'm buying them for the collector in me, so that's why I don't really care. But yeah, if you got last year's and you're considering this year, I still think that they're different enough. If you didn't get last year's and you want the new one, I would definitely recommend the new one. The color story is really pretty and the shadows feel even higher quality than before. So not that this was bad quality, I just feel like, wow, they've even amped up their formula since last year. So if you like this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can come back and hang out with me some more. If you are interested in looks on my complexion with this new palette, let me know. I was thinking about it, but I wasn't sure because, you know, there's been so many videos already out on it. But if you are interested, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And thank you so much for hanging out with me. Until next time, love you guys. Bye.